Hello, welcome to my Andean adventure. I am so excited to take you to Peru, one of my home away from homes in October. As you can see, we are going to be arriving on October 29th, early in the morning. We'll talk more about the flight itineraries and how that's going to go down, but everybody will be traveling to Cusco. So if you're just looking to get an idea of airfare, you want to check from either JFK or Newark and do JFK to Newark or Newark to Cusco, Peru. And you can get an idea of what that flight pattern might look like or cost. I have been to Peru many times, and these are some of the folks that I've traveled with around Peru. The group on the left is the first group I took in 2016, and that's some of the group walking up to the Incan Sun Gate in Machu Picchu. It is a difficult walk for some people, but most people are able to do it, and the view is absolutely breathtaking. And that was us near the top, getting really excited about what we were seeing. The group on the top right is women that I brought in 2019, and that is at the Mander Falls down at the base of Machu Picchu. It's not a destination many people go because everybody's going to walk through more of the terraces and the higher sites that a lot of people don't go down below. And there's beautiful botanical gardens and waterfalls down there that we're definitely going to check out. The other picture of people on the yoga mats, that's at my friend Jorge's hotel when he was building it, and I was traveling there in 2015 with a group of Australians, and I said, hey, you want to do a little yoga class? So we all got a little of our yoga mats, and we sat out, and we had a little yoga practice, and it was really lovely. So just some of the folks I've brought to some of the places we're going to be seeing. This slide shows you some of the culture, some of the clothing, some of what you'll see in Peru. The man on the left is a Quiro shaman that we do a lot of work with in Sacred Valley. The last time I was there, he recognized me, gave me a big hug. I was so overjoyed. I couldn't believe that this shaman, authentic shaman, had remembered me from the past, so it was really a privilege. There are a lot of fake shamans throughout Peru as Peru became very busy with tourism. Sometimes those things happen, so it's important that you know that the people you're working with for some of the ceremonies are authentic, and the people that we're going to be working with surely are. The women and the children that you see towards the bottom, they're some folks that we've met along the way. You can see how they dress. All of the women wear skirts. They wear these really cute tops and all kinds of different hats. You're going to see really high hats. You're going to see these kind of circular hats. But it is good to have a hat in Peru because the sun gets super hot. And so having a little hat is great. And you'll see me on the top right there. When I go to Peru, I dress colorful, I dress bright. It makes me feel more alive and aligned with the landscape. You can see the hat that I have. I bought that in Pisac, and we will be going to Pisac. So if you want to get a hat like that, you can purchase one there. And the other picture I have to the Sun Gate there in Machu Picchu, I just wanted people to see a little bit of the landscape and terrain that you'll be walking on. As you can see, most of the path is quite wide. Yes, it does get steeper as you walk up, so some people stay closer to the wall on the right and go up and down that way. Sometimes there can be a lot more people on the walkway, so we just take our time and we go very deliberately, and we stop a lot to talk or to invite you to really feel into the land. So it's not like a big quick hike, and also the altitude is a thing, so we have to kind of take it slow anyway. So here I am. I am at the top of Sungate. That rock is a particularly important one where we'll do hopefully a little ceremony if there's not too many people around or anybody shooing us away. As you can see, I've been to Peru 5 times in the past. First time in 2015 and most recently in May of 2023. And this is all my contact information, my website, my email, my phone number. So if you're forwarding this slide to a friend or even for yourself, this is how you get in touch with me. So why travel to Peru? Of course, you have your own reasons, but these are some of mine and some that I want to point out. Maybe you haven't thought about or don't even know about. First of all, it is a major planetary power place. A lot of people believe it to be the world's or our Earth's second chakra location. And it is the location where 2 ley lines, or what are referred sometimes to the male and the female dragon lines, intersect. And there's only 2 places on the planet where that happens. One's in Bali, Indonesia, where I've also been and done retreats. The other is here in Peru. And so this is just a significant power place. The energy is palpable there. And it's no mystery why the ancient Incans decided to litter temples all over this landscape. It is a living, breathing thing. And to go there, I mean, it's a visual explosion. You're just going to see so much beauty, but you're also going to feel it within you. It's undeniable. And for me as a healer, I truly believe that we can do our own healing here at this power place, but we can also work on healing the world. And that is a beautiful symmetry there. The second bullet just says natural beauty. Of course, natural beauty. The Andes mountain range is everywhere in Sacred Valley, and in the language in Peru, apus means mountain. And it's not just a landscape. It's not just a figure. It is a living, breathing thing. As I'm mentioning to you, it's just so extraordinary in Peru. And so the landscape becomes a part of the whole experience there. And you can really feel it. And so trekking and hiking become unbelievable. And the climate, of course, there is just so amazing. So in the early morning or late evening, you might be a little chilly, and then during the day, you might be getting a sunburn. So we dress in layers. It's usually a dry climate, so there's not usually a lot of rain. And because they're in the southern hemisphere, they're the opposite of us. So if we're going into the fall, they're going into the spring. So you can kind of think about that too. The Incan power places, as I mentioned, scattered all about, particularly Machu Picchu, which is the most well-known and known as one of the 7 wonders of the world. The terraces, however, are all throughout Sacred Valley. We'll just be traveling in the bus and you'll see them. The architecture that you see on these sites, the stonework, the carving. Sometimes you're looking at things wondering, how did they do it? Just how did they do it? It's phenomenal. The rich culture, the food, the weavings that the women do are so amazing. And the alpaca wool that you can get scarves and sweaters and socks and gloves and hats and all kinds of things. So you're going to want to leave some extra space in your suitcase because you're going to want to pick up some weavings and some alpaca for sure, for yourself, for gifts, and also to help the people, because tourism is their main source of income. And since 2020, they have really been hit hard, and they continue to suffer lots of different things the last couple of years, setbacks. And so every time I go, we're buying things, not because we personally need them, but to help out the people, and also to, take some presents back to some folks at home. Your Kero shamanic ceremonies, I also mentioned, we're going to be doing what we do in a very authentic way, in a very simple way. And that when you're traveling with me, that they're going to be authentic. And then there's this mystery and adventure all throughout Peru. in the north, where you have some of these massive carved symbols in the planet that you have to kind of go up in a plane to see. That's too far from where we're going to be. We're not going to do that. They're called the Nazca lines, and we won't be able to see that, but you might know what that means. Down in Lake Titicaca is also just like being in a whole other world, and that maybe is a trip for another time. That's also a little too far away from Sacred Valley area. It's a whole other day trip. But down there, particularly in Lake Titicaca, there's been many, many alien sightings and thoughts that the Intergalactic Federation location is there. So if you're into that kind of thing, alien, sci-fi, and that kind of mystery, for sure, that's all over Peru as well. You could tap into that. The Amazon jungle comes very close to Machu Picchu, or the river, I should say. We won't be going into the jungle, and we also will not be doing any kind of a ayahuasca journeying that comes out of the plant medicine there. It's really not something that you should do on a trip to Peru, so just kind of scratch that out of your head. That plant-based medicine is, it serves a purpose, but not for people on a short retreat. And then there's the Heart of On, which is my dear friend and mentor Solara's home and compound. And I have been going there and visiting her and doing these very unique on-tawa ceremonies there with people from all over the world. And basically, we're holding space for the planet to shift over to a higher light energy and frequency, to one of love and oneness, and shifting out of duality. And so hopefully we will get to see Solara and the Heart of On when we're there. One man you will absolutely see at some point is Jorge Luis Delgado. So Jorge Luis Delgado is the man. He is the man that you travel with in Peru. If you go to Peru and you travel with anyone else, you're having half of the experience. Jorge grew up in Lake Titicaca. His mother was a shaman. He decided to pursue tourism, and so he was a tour operator for many years, and he built up an empire. He owns his own tour company, Contiki Tours. He owns his own hotel company, Taipicala Hotels. And because he's taking people to all these power places over the years, he too started to awaken to a lot of his own gifts in that. So he is what we call a chakana, which means a bridge person, who helps people to move into other realms and dimensions. Contiki Tours and Jorge will be our guide. He will be with us some of the time. He's a super, super busy man, so sometimes he has other engagements, and his very skilled people will be guiding us. They all speak English. They've all been trained by him for authentic experiences and guided information. So one last tip about Jorge is that if you're familiar with Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the famous book, The Four Agreements, when Don Miguel Ruiz goes to Peru on retreats or brings people, he travels with Jorge. So he's the guy. So Taipicala Hotels, yes, this is a super, super beautiful location. In the picture, this is the Taipicala in Sacred Valley, the one that he was building when I taught that yoga class in 2015, and he spared no expense. We are going to be staying in all of his hotels. We'll be staying in his hotel here in Sacred Valley several days. We'll be staying in his hotel in Aguas Calientes, which is in Machu Picchu. We will also be staying, I think, one night in the Taipicala in Cusco. So we will be traveling around a little bit, but we don't have to worry about our luggage because his staff takes care of it from beginning to end. Cala Hotel. It's just a phenomenal, phenomenal hotel. So that's their Sacred Valley Hotel. And that is a 5-star luxury hotel. Well, these are going to be some of the sacred sites that we're going to be seeing throughout Sacred Valley. Moray is probably one of my favorite, created originally by a meteorite impact, and then the Incans built their famous terraces around them. I have my own thoughts about this that I will share when we're there. The energy there is completely palpable. It is absolutely a ceremonial site as well as an agricultural site. As you can see in the bottom right, some of our group from our recent Antawa ceremonies, we go into one of the smaller circles there and do some of our ceremony, and just everything there is so palpable. You can feel the energy. It's really amazing. This site, Saxe Woman, is known as, I believe, a fortress. However, again, the monolithic stone carvings and precision in which these stones have been put together, again, it's just a sight to see. And in the bottom right picture, you can see me laying in a particularly strange carved stone. Now, this is not in the main tourist area, but there's an area behind the main attraction where in the ground there's all these weirdly carved stones. And again, it's like, how did they, what tools did they use to cut or create these lines? And some of these definitely feel like you're supposed to be sitting in them for a reason and doing something. And so we'll, hopefully spend some time there. You can check that out. Machu Picchu. What's to say? Take a look. It's just gorgeous. And some of the things that you'll see and experience there are going to be just bucket list. I just can't even say any more about it. You know what Machu Picchu is, but you haven't felt it yet. And to go there and do the ceremony that we're going to do, it really is breathtaking, and you'll feel it. Another place I really love is Ollantaytambo. This is also in Sacred Valley, and it is something that is pretty high. Not everybody's going to want to climb up. The view, as you can see, is phenomenal. Some of you are going to want to stay low at the ground, and we'll definitely do a little something down there that everybody can partake in. The pictures on the right, however, are up top, and they will be, for some that want to head up there and do that. But there are just so many Incan sites scattered throughout Sacred Valley. These are just a few, some that we will see, and I'll explain the itinerary a little bit more. The last slide of the locations is of the Heart of On. So this is my friend Solar's compound in Sacred Valley. And they have alpacas there. They've created a labyrinth and something we call the Tower of the Heart of On and a chacana. And so just different ceremonies or mudras or meditations are done in these different places. But I'm really hoping we can stop by and see my friends one day while we're traveling through. And when I say hope, I want to just share with you what I call a sample itinerary. And the whole reason we say sample is because if you look at the very last paragraph, it says, when we travel with Jorge Delgado, our expert guide in Chicana, we go where the energy flows. Itinerary may and most likely will change slightly due to the day. So, of course, we're all going to arrive in Cusco, Peru on day 1 to adjust to the altitude, have some coca tea, have some lunch. Then we're going to get in a bus and head to Sacred Valley. That ride can be about an hour, hour and a half, but we're going to stop at some sites along the way. So you're going to drop right in, first day. We're going to make our way to the Taipicala Hotel that you just saw. And then day 2 and day 3, we're going to play very loose. It's going to be about what the weather's like, what the energy of the group is, where do we really need to go for what reasons. Sometimes also Peru does play a part in that. if there are certain things going on in certain places, then we may have to go a different way. So that's going to be pretty loose, but you can expect that we'll see some of those sites that I mentioned to you a few slides ago. Day 4, we're going to head on Inca Rail to Machu Picchu. The train ride is phenomenal. It is glass. You're looking out over this beautiful landscape through the valley the whole way. The little desserts and drinks that they offer on the train are wonderful as well. So we'll really have a beautiful trip to Machu Picchu, and hopefully get there early enough to walk down to those Mander Falls before we kind of call it a night. The town is called Aguas Calientes. There's lots of little tiny shops, restaurants, so everybody will kind of have their own evening there. The Day 5 will begin with a very early morning rise to get to Machu Picchu before sunrise. We do a sunrise ceremony there that you're going to love. And then that day can be spent either a half day at Machu Picchu and back in Aguas Calientes, or a full day in Machu Picchu. You'll see there's a bus that takes you there, and it's going on throughout the day constantly. So you can basically stay as long as you want in Machu Picchu. There is a cafe there and a bathroom down at the bottom. There's also a hotel there, but I've never stayed there. So you can actually, spend a whole day there. And if you have a backpack with water and snacks, it can really be a great day. And we just, again, play that by ear and how you're feeling, because the next day we take the bus to Cusco, and we will visit some temples and some places along the way. So we'll be stopping. It's not like we're in the bus and just shooting to Cusco. We're going to be doing things along the way. Cusco is capital, or former capital, Incan capital. Again, there's some really cool things to see and do there in Cusco. So Day 7 is our last day, and we'll do a short morning walk unless you're taking an early morning flight back. Most of us will probably have evening departures, so we'll be able to spend the day in Cusco, and that's what I recommend. So here's your itinerary inclusions. Included in the cost of this trip are all of the accommodations with breakfasts at the luxury Type Acala hotels. If we coordinate successfully the group to come and arrive in Cusco around the same time and depart around the same time, then the airport transfers in and out will be included. If you decide that you want to stay an extra day or arrive an extra day early, which you certainly can do, then you're going to have to pay for an additional night in the hotel and your own transport. I can arrange all of that for you, and we'll do that. So you just have to let me know, and then I can let you know what the cost of that addition will be. We also have included private ground transportation throughout our whole scheduled tour. So there's nobody else on our bus with us but us. If it's a small group, it's a van. And it's a very nice van or bus. The welcome dinner I'm going to put together the first night for us, and we'll do a little meet and greet, and we'll have some fun getting to know each other. Also included is entry to all the sacred sites with our English-speaking guide. The Inca Rail to Machu Picchu is included, and also the bus and entry to Machu Picchu. And then anything we do together obviously included: the initiations, the ceremonies that either Jorge or I or the shaman that we bring in for particular things, that's all included. If you do want that chakra healing with the shaman, that's extra. And it can be done one of the days in Sacred Valley. We have to schedule that with him. And anything else, obviously, that you want to do will be separate. Somebody did ask me about yoga, and we do have a yoga room in Sacred Valley. They did have yoga mats there, so I don't think you need to bring your own mat. But if you want, and it feels like we need a little yoga, we will absolutely do that. Some days we're leaving so early, or we're coming back having done so much that people just want to relax. So again, we'll go with the flow with that, but I will happily offer yoga if it's appropriate and everybody wants to do a couple of classes while we're in Sacred Valley. Not included in the cost of the trip, your airfare. Again, look to Cusco, Peru. It will go through Lima. There is a whole thing in Lima I'll talk about in a moment. Your travel insurance is not included but suggested. Many people never get that, and that's up to you. Any of the other meals, if we're traveling throughout the day and we stop at a restaurant, that's not included. And all of the other dinners are not included. So you'll have to take care of your meals. You'll have to take a little tip we put together for the driver or the guides. And any of your personal things. So that's pretty much it. So here's some other really important information for you that you need to know. First of all, no vaccines are required for entry into Peru. Yay, that's all good. But check your passport. It has to be valid within 6 months left of expiration and have several blank pages. I went to go to Peru in 2022. I got to JFK Airport, and because my passport expired in 5.5 months, I was denied entry to the plane. Yes, they turned me away with 2 weeks short of 6 months. So please check your passport and make sure that it is valid for at least 6 months, or you will not get to Peru. You have plenty of time to send in for a new one if you need it. I did mention the altitude. As you can see, Cusco is the highest. Machu Picchu is the lowest place we'll be. But even just walking in Machu Picchu can be a little difficult because of the altitude if you're not used to it. And I find personally that I don't get altitude sickness, but some people do have that. Our first thing is to always have coca tea in the morning. There's these coca candies that you can buy and you can suck on while you're hiking or trekking. They always do help. I only ever saw one person ever need oxygen, and that was down in Lake Titicaca, where it's actually much higher. I think the elevation is 14,000 feet or more there. So we're not going to be anything like that. But you could have a headache or something like that, or some dizziness or nausea. That sometimes happens to people when they first come in. That's why we adjust in Cusco and have lunch and get you acclimated to the altitude and introduce you to coca tea. And that's available throughout. And for most of you, if not all of you, it won't even be a problem. It'll just be the feeling when you're walking, like, wow, I have to go a little slower, or I have to take more breaks than what you're used to. So the flight, book your flight to Cusco, but in Lima, you have to disembark your airplane, you have to get your luggage, and you have to go through customs. They're going to stamp your passport there. Actually, I don't think they stamp it anymore. I don't know, everything's electronic now, but they will check it nonetheless. If you have any issues, there are luggage carts. However, there is a small area where you have to pull all of your luggage without a cart. So just keep that in mind. You have to re-enter the airport. So when you're going out, after you get your passport stamped and you're all good and you go out, you can either go outside the airport, walk down the walkway and back in for your domestic flight, or just before you walk out of the airport, go to the left, and you can stay inside the airport and go right to domestic. There aren't a lot of signs, but it's super easy to do. And you're basically going to get right on a domestic flight to Cusco. And that's only about an hour and 15-minute flight. So that's an easy jumper. Once you go through Lima, you're good to go. So my only note that I like to tell people is give yourself at least 2 hours in the connection between Lima and Cusco. There was one time where I did arrive in 2023. No, 2022. Anyway, there was this one time that I did arrive, and there were so many people backed up in customs. I don't know what happened there, but I missed my flight. Now, they do have flights every hour to Cusco, so you're going to get on another flight. But I did have to wait another 2 hours for a flight to get on there. And because we all have to leave together at Cusco after lunch to go down to Sacred Valley, we do want to make sure that everybody gets there in time. Don't worry, if anything happens and you miss your connection or flight, we will have someone else from Kontiki Tours pick you up and bring you to where we are. So don't freak out. Things will always work out. But just a little suggestion, try to give yourself at least that 2-hour window in connection. As far as currency goes, Peruvian sol is used. However, I've noticed lots of people take American dollars. I can't guarantee that people will take American dollars. You have to have some Peruvian sol on you, whether you order it from your bank or get it from the money exchange at the airport. Make sure you have at least $100 with you, I would say, to get you through a couple of days. We will see a money exchange, I think, in Pisac. Ollantaytambo has a money exchange. So some places we'll go to, you'll be able to exchange American dollars. The hotels take credit cards. Some of the bigger restaurants take credit cards. But a lot of the little places where you might be buying things by these, the people that make the weavings in Chinchero Market or things like that, Aguas Calientes, you're going to have to pay cash for those things. So, for me personally, I'm always traveling with way more cash than I need, only because I like to do that. So I will get usually $500 of Peruvian sol from my bank, so I don't have to worry about the money exchange, because that's another stop in the connection thing that you'll have to do. And instead of doing that, I already have it. And then usually I have another, $500 to $2,000 American money just with me. And, it's just easy to keep it and handle it and have it. So don't rely on an ATM for dropping in and getting money. There aren't a lot of ATMs, and I really, really discourage people from getting money out of ATMs. So that is that. On the right, you can see all the payment information, the $500 deposit that's required to get you into this retreat, to get your application moving forward, so I can send you the other documents so that you can be involved in coordinating the airfare and the group pickups. Do that as soon as possible. The full cost of the tour is there, and that has to be due by the end of July. The last day of July, first day of August, I need to have that because Peru requires me, Kontiki Tours requires me to send them the money, or most of the money. I do appreciate cash or checks, but I do also take credit card, Venmo, PayPal, and we can work that out however you want. Do you want to do it in one lump sum or payment plans? Just let me know. So that's our trip to Peru. I do have some upcoming trips that I'm also working on. So if Peru's not working for you, but you want to try to hit another retreat with me, I'm not sure if the Herkimer Diamond Retreat is going to work out this summer or not. I'm having trouble with them getting back to me, actually. But the Path of the Dragon, which is going to be an India and Bali retreat, or an option of just doing Thailand or just doing Bali, that's certainly coming up in the winter. And then next spring, I'm going to be doing a trip to Mount Shasta Vision Quest retreat. So Mount Shasta is also a planetary power place right here in the United States. So you just have to go to California. And Asia, Bali, I already mentioned as a power place, and the dragon line that runs through Bali also comes straight up through Thailand. And I've also been to Thailand 7 times. I've been to Bali twice. I absolutely love this area of the world too. I have friends and resources there, so I'm excited to be going back. So that is the end of our slideshow presentation. If you have any other questions, please reach out to me. I'm always available to talk to you, and I will be having other meetings with the people who enroll, at least with their deposit. You can do that right on my website on oneyogacenter.net. The events page has an event for the Andean Adventure Retreat, and you can purchase right there with a credit card or PayPal your deposit, and then we can go from there. But once you do that, and as soon as you do that, we can start to get everybody involved in a meeting to discuss airfare and all of that. And it's going to be here before you know it. So I can't wait to get back to Peru. I can't wait to take you, and I look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions. Thank you so much for listening.